So let me explain to you how little I trust you. And if you're someone that is a friend of mine or something, that this doesn't apply to you. This is just if you're like regular people, or if you're a hive mind that is disassociated from yourself, so you can't admit to being a hive mind, and you happen to be living on a bunch of separate bodies, and you're in total denial about how you are an individual entity because you have a lot of different bodies that you live on. Like what do you mean a hive mind living on multiple bodies? What are you talking about? So if you're any of those things, if you're like the people, or if you're people I don't know, or if you're like this thing called society or whatever, what's society? What's society? Or if you're a hive mind living on multiple bodies. Let me just loosen this up. I don't want to look like I'm upset. I'm not upset. Let me just explain to you how little I trust you. Even if you made all of the bodies around me obvious and totally believable zombies, I'm talking holes that go right through so that you can see through the lungs and you know that it's not makeup, and everyone's a zombie and there's like no police around and it's a complete shutdown of everything and there's just zombies walking around. The only thing that's going to happen is that I'm going to be in some sort of concrete box and I'm going to be hugging a hammer and I'm going to be crying because I don't trust you. And I would believe that as soon as I bopped one zombie on the head with a hammer, that all of the zombies would magically turn into people and that you would try and get me in trouble. That's how little I trust you. I don't trust you. I was going to preface this by saying, this could change if I could find an illustrator or just a peer group, like 7 other lingual 7 other men in their 30s with free time, either independently wealthy or so unemployable that they don't really care anymore about anyone paying them, and they would just like to do something with others, just to be with other people. So either wealthy or poor, but possessing of free time, and old enough so that when I show them what plans that we would be working on together, that they could provide consent and they would be able to decide for themselves outside of having a economic pressure put to their head, like an economic pressure of like work, make money, or else. Like besides all of that, like just for they look at my plan and they like my plan, they decide I like your plan, and from my own ability to decide and my own risk assessment, I'm going to decide, right? So I don't trust you. I don't think I can trust you. I don't think I have trust to give. What I do have, it seems, is the ability to control other bodies to attack me. Sometimes when I was on the train, I don't do this that much anymore because of the masks and the breath issue. And also I don't like, now that there's an emergency, I don't spend much time in the train car. But I used to say, so on the train I used to do like public speeches on the train. And it did seem like I had the ability to control other bodies and attack myself with the other bodies. Sometime young men would kind of like be in a group and they would kind of like smile wickedly at me, and sort of with their body language and with their way of expressing themselves emotionally, maybe not with words, maybe with words, they would sort of ask me if I would like to control them to attack me. And because I could feel my decisions deciding how they behaved without my consent, they weren't a part of my team, we weren't having a meeting, it was just my behavior, how I felt, how I expressed my emotions would control how their actions. And so I can't trust. It doesn't seem like I can trust, but it does seem like I can control other bodies to attack me without my permission. Without my consent, I can control other bodies. They kind of like offer that sometimes. But and I was going to preface this by saying, well, if I had a team, then I would probably develop like a social trust, like a trust for like the social contract with what they still sometimes call a social contract, but not so much anymore. And especially not so much when you live in I don't want to call it a society, but when you live in a environment where most of the bodies in your environment are escapees from some third world hellhole, and the only way that they could escape was by keeping their head down and not rocking the boat. They didn't really have a society. They just had work. And unfortunately, because I've so clearly expressed this, there's very little room to kind of frame this as like hate, like I hate someone, or I hate a group of people. Like I care about anyone enough to hate anybody. You know that the people that hate you are the ones that love you, right? It's your family who are your abusers, obviously. I mean, duh. Strangers don't care about you enough to hate you or your behavior. So I don't hate anyone. I don't care enough about anyone. I care about some things. I care about some people, but I don't care about. And the people that I do feel like a hatred for, I feel a love for as well. And I don't really feel like I have class permission to express like rage or upsetness. I don't really have a class permission to express critique for anybody. Because if I do, they'll retaliate, and because they have more class, they have a higher status, they have more position in the group, in the bodies, to maneuver the bodies against me. So sometimes the birds, they're fighting. You hear them? I don't know. Do you speak Sparrow? I don't speak Sparrow. Do you think they sound happy? Anyway. Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think of what else to say. I was thinking about what else to say, but I don't know if you heard how important it was. I don't know if you heard how much noise there was. Anyway. Trust, the social contract, and get me a production team, right? Just a believable number of unemployed 30-year-old men who are lingual. What else? Oh, controlling other people, having my decisions, my emotions, what I think, how I behave, deciding what other people do. Without being a part of a team, without my consent. Like, I don't mind controlling others as long as it's with consent, right? Like if we're in a team and I'm the leader and I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and then we can discuss it, and hopefully the things that I have, hopefully I live in a reality and not in like a hellfire. Because if I would live in hellfire, then no matter what plan I come to the table with, the requirement that the experience be torturous would manifest as, like, no matter what plan I have, the team members would like argue and make it untenable or dysfunctional, and then I would have to like compromise, and then I would have to like deceive the team into thinking that it was their idea, and then hiding the actual plan and protecting the actual plan from the team members so that we could move ahead without the team members sabotaging the plan, all that. I mean, the entire point of civilized society is that I don't have to hold a gun to your head to get you to do something. Like, right? That's like a person holding a gun to another person's head, that's bad. Even discussing it, even like positing it as a scenario is like supposedly shameful or something. But in Get Shorty and in Be Cool and in Ray Donovan and other films like it, they show that you can't get anything done in Hollywood unless you're violent. And there's even a television show for Get Shorty now, I think, or there was. So the entire point of not being violent and communicating and being civil is that it's different than holding a gun to your head. That's the whole point. So since I value civility and agreement and harmony and conversation so much, I value it so much, I don't want to sully conversation and agreement and discussion. I don't want to sully it with manipulation and deception, all that stuff. It's just like, here's the plan. It's a good plan. Find me some people. Like, don't make me have to convince. Don't make me have to deceive the computer or software program people. Just find me. There's 7 billion. There's supposedly 7 point something plus billion people in the world. Out of all of them, go find me some that would agree. Duh. I mean, even if it's a bad plan, you should be able to find some self-destructive, suicidal idiots that are like, yeah, let's save the missed franchise. Let's make it as quality as Lost or as educational as Star Trek or as serene as those shows where they just show a river for 20 minutes and the river flows whoa, it's just nice, those segments on Adult Swim do it really well. I feel like there was something I was missing. Right after the I don't trust you. It's not that I don't trust you. It's that I trust you so little. Right after the how little I trust you, even if everybody was zombies, I would just be crying because and hiding because I would believe that everyone would magically turn into a person as soon as I smashed one zombie in the head, because that's how little I trust you, my environment. I just don't trust my environment. What else? Third world country, hellhole escapees, not really having a social contract, just keeping their head down and working, me not hating those people because who cares about anybody anyway. What else? I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe there was something else with the birds. It was the birds. Did you hear those birds? Go back and listen to those birds chirping right when I was going to transition to the last little thing and wrap it up. Just go listen to those birds, I don't know, fighting for 20 minutes. Anyway. I got this birthmark thing there, and there's a matching one growing there from a scar. It's a little birthmark growing from a scar. One of my hair moves forward, so I tie my hair up in the front like a Sikh, and one of the elastic bands was dirty, so I started to get pimples on my forehead. Also, I got hit in the face with a chain. Here, I'll tell you the story about me getting hit in the face with a chain. So I was sitting at the park where the Adjustment Bureau starts, and it was nighttime, and I just finished not watching Venom because I didn't like it. I left, and I was watching The Cell with Jennifer Lopez and Vincent D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio is a scary fellow. He's in a couple of movies that have had a lot of influence on my life. One of the movies that had a big influence on my life was Full Metal Jacket, because I didn't join the army because why would I join the army? Why would I join any government force so that I could be ostracized and scapegoated while separated from normal life and even more isolated, like in Full Metal Jacket. So Full Metal Jacket was one of those movies that was I don't know if it scared me from joining the army, but it definitely informed me. I don't know if it warned me, but it informed me that, like, why would you take yourself out of the why would you take yourself out of the relative normalcy of normal life and then put yourself into a scenario where you're just going to be even more stigmatized, even more isolated, even more demanded on you, and and have even less recourse or way to evade, even less options. So Vincent D'Onofrio and Jennifer Lopez in The Cell. So I was sitting down watching The Cell on a tablet at the park on the Wi-Fi, and I was looking up and I was looking at the way that the power lines were putting a smiley face on the building where there's like a Swiss bank type company, Swiss company, financial company that's in a building. And I was looking at this old building and I was seeing like a Joker smile because of the way that the power line was dipping. Sounds like it's a industrial factory outside, like they're, I don't know, building furniture or some. Anyway, so I was looking at this smiley face and I was trying to like imbue a smiley face onto this building without asking anyone in the building. I was like trying to magically put a smiley face on this building because I saw like a smile in the low-hanging power line. And wow. Okay, so I'm watching this movie, and when at the very end of the movie, there's this evil energy character. He's kind of a character, but he's kind of like an energy, and he's on the boy. He's like a piece of the boy's mind that is the violent monster type side of the boy, but it separates. Jennifer Lopez kind of separates the boy from this side of himself that's not really him somehow. And as she's talking with the boy, he's changing into the older version of himself and the younger version of himself, and there's a growing of plant matter, like a special effect of a growing of plant matter growing around the screen in the shape of a letterbox. And the thing about it growing in the shape of a letterbox is like, how does that growth that's in the movie, how does that growth know that it's in a letterbox? It doesn't grow in a circle. It doesn't grow around the set. The set doesn't start to slowly fill with vines. The edge of the letterbox starts to slowly grow vines. And this growth sort of represents this evil almost. And I'm like, does the evil know that it's being viewed through a movie? That was a scary idea. So I was really scared that this evil was going to come out of the movie. But I kept on watching the movie anyway. Maybe you could go get a psychiatrist and bind them. Or a psychologist. Preferably, I would prefer a psychiatrist to be bound and brought to me. And to answer for this way of thinking. That it's crazy to think that this evil energy could come out of the screen. It's not a healthy way of thinking, supposedly. So I put that idea away. I was like, that's not a good way of thinking, and I put it away. And as the movie ended, right as the movie ended, without any chance for me to readjust to my environment, there was a muttering drug addict stereotype that walked across my field of vision, muttering to himself in a threatening manner across my field of view. And I was like, this is not real, this is fake, come on. And within moments, he hit me. I got up and within moments he hit me in the face with a chain. And I don't believe in real life. Like I said, I don't trust my environment. I don't believe in real life. I'd like to, if I could find a believable number of unemployed 30-year-old men who are lingual, it'd be easier for me to believe in real life. So when he hit me in the face with the chain, it didn't hurt really, but I was considering what to think, what to feel, as I felt what might be a permanent disfigurement. And I saw the blood, and I felt the tooth come off of him. And I looked at him, and then he moved. After he hit me, he moved to like some feet away more. He moved like 30 feet away. He went from 6 feet away to 3 feet away, hit me with a chain. And then I'm like, oh, he didn't like hit. It wasn't like he just destroyed me. He just hit me with a chain once, because I was like, I don't believe this, go away. I'm not trying to harm you. You're in a city full of resources. You're not in the middle of a desert. You're not in a war zone. There's no reason for you to be in this mentality of like, there's no reason for you to be in this mentality of like tough guy insanity. It's just, there's no reason for you to be in this tough guy insanity. You're not in a desert. You're not in a wilderness with lions trying to eat you. You're not gonna starve to death. Anyway. So after he hit me, and as I was considering like what to feel, he moved about 30 feet away from me, and I said to you, the audience at home, I said, I was like, am I brave enough to get a production team now on 24th Street and Madison Square Park East, the bottom of Lexington. I think the bottom of Madison Avenue, on 24th Street. I said, am I brave enough to have a production team now? And then I turned to the other side. I said, am I brave enough to get I turned to the guy. I said to the guy, actually, when he hit me in the face with the chain, I think the first thing I said to him was, are you my illustrator? I was like, are you my illustrator? I think that's the first thing I said to him. And then he walked away. And he walked away to about 30 feet away from me. And I shouted to the audience. I shouted to the imagined audience at home. I said, am I brave enough to get a production team now? I might have said it twice or in two different ways. And then holding the chain that probably had my blood on it, and I was like, there's a piece missing. There's nothing. It's not on the floor. I was like, oh, you got my tooth. Holding the chain, he ran away down 24th Street. He ran away. So get me a production team, because nobody cares about the opinions of academics who say that anyone's crazy. No one cares about your opinion. The only thing anyone cares about is money. And the fear of God, like dying and going to hell, people care about that. Dying and going to hell. And also people care about pleasure, physical, carnal pleasure. These are some things that people care about. But nobody cares about what? Nobody cares about your, I walk into an office and you don't feel comfortable with me. Nobody cares. Like I live, no one cares about you feeling threatened. No one cares about your strategic sexual harassment lawsuits. Nobody cares. There's honestly, everyone's looking at you and knows that you would like to be ravaged. The only problem is that you have no consciousness. So in your reality, the same way that you cannot acknowledge your own fixation with victimhood, although I can. I have a very strong fixation with victimhood. I bring my victimhood worship to the cross, where I worship at the victimhood of Jesus Christ, who defeated the Roman Empire and who saved all of our souls by being victimized on the cross. And if you don't believe that he was victimized on the cross, then you probably are the spirit that was in possession of Peter when Peter was like, "Oh, boss, I would never let that happen to you," because it was a victimhood. He was the victim of unjust of that pain and all of that. Although who knows if Jesus was in pain? I don't know. He certainly didn't want to die. He certainly experienced the human fear. Jesus certainly experienced the pressure of trying to reconcile the two contradictions, because he sweat blood, you know, and I don't think that he sweat blood in joyful anticipation of being whipped and hammered. Although, I don't know. And then on the cross, he was like, "Eloi, Eloi, lama Eloi, my Lord, Eloi, 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 lama sabachthani." So yeah, no one cares about your infatuation with your own victimhood, or how much your identity is entirely wrapped up in who's victimizing you and who's the bad guy in your life. Honestly, no one cares. The only reason why anybody would care is if they could strategically use your victimhood to manipulate the environment and the systems of the environment for their benefit. There's no, "Oh, that's a bad look," or "You're coming off really bad right now." There's none of that. No. Consider what demographic of people say that sort of thing, and where their values come from, and how connected they are to the social contract, and consider who doesn't, who uses their resources to leave and go somewhere else. By the way, the same way that thinking that the growing of the vines in the movie at the end of the cell was a threat, and that it could come out of the movie and attack me, that was crazy to think that. Same way, just like you to know, you shouldn't be thinking that the growling mechanical sounds outside are the aggression of the environment manifesting. You shouldn't think that. That's crazy. I don't think anything. Maybe it is that, maybe it isn't that. But I don't know what the reality is, remember? The reality is whatever you say it is. So I might have a possible interpretation. I might be convinced of what is true, but it doesn't matter. What matters is what the people with the arms who are going to grab you, take you to jail. That's who matters. So ask them what the reality is. As for me, I would like to rescue the Myst franchise, because I didn't know how to read until the Chronicles of Narnia. So all of the moral values of the Bible and how the United States of America and all of its laws are based on the Bible, all of that is like superfluous and secondary to my standing of C.S. Lewis, and how my standing of C.S. Lewis transferred to Myst through the aesthetic of the game Myst and the cover art of Myst and Riven, and all of the magazine articles that cited the upbringing of the church upbringing and Christian upbringing of Rand and Robin Miller. It's only not only is it rational, not only is it logical, but it should be emotionally relatable that a young man who's a Christian growing up would transfer his enthusiasm for the Chronicles of Narnia as he got older to something that was a little bit more mature in its medium, that is video games. Especially a video game like Myst, that's very intelligent, super smart, and has a lot to do with the metaphor of linking and hypertext and all that stuff. I guess if you would like what I'm saying to matter to you, that you have to pay for me to have a college degree. That's how much it costs. But it's just a piece of paper. But a piece of paper is very important. The deed to your house is a piece of paper. Your birth certificate is a piece of paper. Your social security card is a piece of paper. The Bible is made out of a bunch of pieces of paper. Pieces of paper might be actually kind of important. The note in the wine bottle that you plug with a with cork and throw into the ocean to rescue you is a piece of paper. The love note, do you like me? Check yes or no. That's a piece of paper. So yeah, I would like to rescue the Myst franchise from becoming as gauche as Exile, although there's a lot of cool stuff in Exile, or as marketed as inappropriately marketed to children as Exile, as Revelation was, or as inside baseball as Uru. Uru was too inside baseball for it to become popular. Although it probably did create a bunch of software programmers, because they had a lot of how to be a software programmer in Uru. So too inside baseball, trying to rescue the Myst franchise from being too gauche, too narrowly marketed, too insider, too secretive, or too boring, and End of Ages was sort of boring, to mechanically repetitive or something. There's like a word for mechanically repetitive. It was too unnatural. So that's what I would like to do. From the first time that I heard that Myst was getting a television series, I felt this reverse cut the baby in half feeling, right? Where it was like, if it's your baby, you're going to let the baby live. Then it's better to like let the baby live than to cut the baby in half and have the two women, right? But I felt the opposite of that towards Myst. I was like, I'd rather not have a Myst television series than have a bad Myst television series. So that's where my... And I would like to believe that it wouldn't be bad, but the increasing level of poorness in the sequels since Robin Miller left, and I would praise Robin Miller, except he's not nice to me on Twitter, and he's constantly, like many rich artists, he's constantly insulting my nationality by attacking the President of the United States, regardless of how the President of the United States is acting, and regardless of these twisted ideas of free speech and patriotism and defending people's right to speak. I feel personally attacked when people speak badly about the President of the United States, because as a poor person, I don't have anything except my nationality. My nationality is like the only thing I have. I don't have property. I don't have skills. I don't have I don't have any reputation, because even though I've made a lot of cool stuff and I've been on the internet and there's video of me doing a lot of cool stuff, somehow, because reputation is controlled by a reputation bank of academia and media, right? The media determines what the narrative is, so the media is the banking cartel for reputation. So I don't have a reputation. I don't have anything. All I have is my nationality. That's all I have. And I'm not like a super patriot type of person in my own estimation, but it's red and white. Where's the red? I mean, it's white and blue. Where's the red, right? My skin is like an orangey... My skin is an orangey, pinky yellow color. And my hair is black. But, is that done? Yeah, it's done. It's done. So, like, and the reason why I'm wearing a hood is because I don't want to show my top knot. I'm not Sikh, but I have a little bit of a top knot. I don't like showing it. I don't know why. If I had the resources, I would probably shave my head around, and I would probably curl like a little unicorn. I would probably have like a little unicorn hair thing sticking out the top of my head, just because if it was up to me, who cares, right? Look at this little guy. Anyway, so yeah. Is this a good look? Is this a good look? Are we going to be able to stop the professional victims from impaling themselves on my existence? No, exactly. No, they're going to find a way to jump on top of me so that because I exist, I hurt them. And I don't know what to do about that. I don't know what to do. Get me a production team. Please. Please.